Let's talk some toys in here.
Hey, how's everybody doing today? It's the Man Child. Alright, so today for review, going to take a look at the Masterverse Origins Cartoon Collection Collectorship, or Airship. So yeah, this is on Mattel Creations right now in stock. That's where I got it from. Yeah, I paid and they shipped it out in a few days, and here it is. So I guess it's our first official vehicle in the cartoon collection. Of all vehicles, I never thought we'd see a collector coming. Whether it's a cartoon line or just a regular Origins. Pretty neat to see this. Pretty cool art, you know, as far as what they got on the, I guess this is the front of the packet box. You have the cartoon collection logo. We have Battle Cat over here. Hopefully we're going to see a cartoon-inspired Battle Cat in this line. I have a feeling one's coming. The main Origins one works okay. I showed that in one of my reviews. But we have Man-at-Arms. Of course, the collector's grabbing He-Man with a claw. Now, I think that it only has the extendable, this claw on the one side, I want to say, the left side, and then blasters that go on both. I'm not sure yet. We'll figure it out when we take it out of the box. Yeah, we have Castle Grayskull in the background, Talon Fighter here, a couple jet sleds. And that's kind of what this reminds me of with the scale. Again, just from seeing in the images and other images online, it's kind of like there's the scaled down version closer to the size of the Talon Fighter, but a little bit bigger. And now, here's a quick look at the picture image on back of the box. So yeah, this is the back of the box, the Mattel logo, and the little description down there. So once again, it's not art. Yeah, we're getting a picture image of all the current figures that's out as far as the cartoon line. Man-at-Arms, Teela, Trapjaw, Stratos, He-Man, Skeletor, Beastman, Webstore, Merman, and Eva Lynn, which I still have her in card. I haven't reviewed her. And then we have the collector ship up here. And what's funny is here's Clawful and Spike-Ore. Now, they're also part of Wave 4, but they're going to come out a little later in the summer from what I read. Now, okay, so this side now, you can see the collector ship's extendable claw. It does have Stratos on, I want to say the right side looking down. So, okay, it does work on both sides. I don't know why I thought it did on one. But anyway, pretty cool art. And then we also have our images. And then, yeah, Snake Mountain in the background up on the edge in the cliff. And now, here's a look at some additional art on the right-hand side of the box, looking in from the main cover. So check that out. We have Swiftwind and She-Ra. Now, I did hear rumors that the Princess of Power figures are coming to the cartoon line. Everything's a rumor, and to be honest, a lot of rumors I've heard going back recently or a year or two ago, a lot of stuff that's now in the Origins, the Collectors, the Turtles, it's all out. So, yeah, I think they're definitely coming. That would be cool. And I have a feeling, if anything, maybe we'll see them at San Diego Comic-Con, which is in a couple months, July, I think. That'd be awesome, but yeah, it's cool to show that tease with Swiftwind and She-Ra. And of course, here's a look at the art on the left-hand side of the box, looking in from the window. And we just have, there's Imp looking in some trees, spying once again. So there's another tease to Hordak coming as part of the cartoon collection. Okay, and here's a look on the top of the box. Of course, laid down on its side to show some of the action features that the ship has or its accessories. So yeah, here's the ship open from the top. That's how it opens. And yeah, it only houses 3 figures. I thought it would sit at least 4 or 6. I thought I seen early images of this, or maybe it was a concept or something. It could hold up to like 5 or 6 figures, and yeah, that's not what it shows. Just 2, and then Skeletor has his own little throne in the back. But okay, moving over to the right, we have unleash blast effects of enemies. So you get a couple. All right, so blasters that plug in. Now, what's interesting with these two is they look to me like the blasters that are going to come out with Night Stalker. Night Stalker is coming out on Mattel Creations, I believe, on the 18th. So if you want a Night Stalker to go against your Stridor, go get him, because I've been waiting for him, even though he's a color repaint. He is coming out, and it looks like those blasters are going to plug into him. And then moving up, yeah, so he does have the 2 retractable arms, I already said. And, once again, grabbing Man-at-Arms. And I don't know if they're like spring, have spring effects, or you plug them in. We'll have to see when we get out of the box. Interesting. Okay, so of course I got the collector out of box, right? Just a quick look at the top, spinning it around, closed anyway. Yeah, it's kind of cool, I guess. It's not really big, but it's not overly small, if that makes sense. So anyway, so yeah, now these, all right, let's one thing at a time. Now the fins, so you get these 2 fins that go up top, right? The big one is going to plug in like this, and then the small one plug in like so. I'm just going to lock. And it says on a box one-time assembly. So if you want to take them out, probably got to heat up and be really careful till they snap like that. So taking a closer look at the front of the collector. It's very reflective. Yeah, my lights are in a way, photo lights. It's like just reflecting off it. So I'll try to move it around so you don't see them. But check out the windshield. That's pretty cool. I like that green tint on it. It even has one in the nose piece, so it has two different. So yeah, it's like a viewport and then a larger windshield itself. You have the teeth down bottom, so yeah, very reminiscent of Skeletor's head, face. So of course you have the claws here, right? Like we already seen. Now they don't open and close, so you're gonna, I guess, snap one of the figures by the waist inside to hold them, which of course we'll do in a little while. And let's see, and they just pull right out. That's pretty cool. Now they're not spring powered, they can spin obviously, but and it's neat that this is like a yellow translucent piece of plastic, kind of like it's an energy arm or something like that. And then you have the main steel piece attached, I guess. And yeah, they do it on both sides, right? Same thing, very identical. Let's see, so beside that, not much to it, then you're gonna open it up like so, and there's the inside of the fuselage, your main cockpit. So of course, taking a closer look inside this main fuselage of this collector ship, yeah, you have the main control panel here. Who's going to fly it? Yeah, it's fully articulated. That's pretty neat. So this whole console can go up and down, spin all around. You got handles here, right? There's nothing really. There's no painted details or added stickers. That would have been cool to have some kind of stickers that you could put inside it. I might have some laying around from something I might put in here. I don't know. You have a couple extra controls or something here. I'm guessing one person flies it. These controls are for operating the arms and weapons, right? So this is your pilot, co-pilot, and then moving to the back. I'm trying to move this around. Yep, we have Skeletor's seat. This is supposed to be the golden throne. You have this little catch in here. It looks like his ram staff or something could snap in there, I'm guessing. I thought at first maybe this come out and you control from the back. I mean, that doesn't make sense, but no, there would be no room for that. Yeah, it's for the ram staff snap in here from looking at. You notice there's a hole coming through the center of this cabin or fuselage, whatever you want to call it. That's for a display of a stand that I'm hoping is going to work off the Wind Raider. You think they would give you a flight stand with this, and once again, they don't. So yeah, I'll bring in the Wind Raiders or maybe the Strider, maybe Stridors as well. I don't know. But anyway, that's about it. And you can see the overall size. Of course, we'll put some figures in it soon. All right, so I'm going to shut this fuselage once again, the top of it, and just take a look at the overall details on this ship. Yeah, you have some sculpting, like just the different architectural design of the plates of this overall craft. Nothing special. Now, we did put those fins on, as I showed. They look like... we already talked about this arm, but once again, there's a little closer look at it, so you can spin, come out, so you can see it from the side view. Again, pretty neat idea, I guess, that you pull in and out. It would cool if it's spring power, but not necessary. It's pretty light, by the way. It's not too bad. You can see, let's see, so on the bottom, you got this lower part. I'm going to spin it around. You can see where it hinges. Yeah, nothing over the top. It's going to spin it around this way. Everything's all the same as far as the top details. Once again, here's the other arm, right? Showed exactly the same as the other side. So let's just flip it upside down. Look at the bottom of it. So it has a little bit of details on the bottom. Nothing crazy. And yeah, here's that little plug for a flight stand. Has some, mechanical sculpting, some kind of structures going on there. I don't know what. You think there'd be some kind of, like, thrusters or something. That's what I was picturing to help give lift. Where... Okay, so in the back of it, it does have forward thrusters. That's for them sculpted in. All right, so that's neat for propulsion. I guess it's electromagnetic or gravity, anti-gravity or something. How it goes up in the air and then it uses propulsion in Eternity. I don't know. And now, moving on to the accessories. So the only two accessories you get are these fire blasters that are going to go in front of the claws. Now, these are not the same exact designs as Stridor has. I actually have Stridor in the background. I'm going to bring them in for comparison in a second, and we'll try that flight stand. They're actually the same ones as the mouse jaw from the Turtles line has, but cast it in red, if you can see that. So that's where they came from with the pegs. So as far as these blast effects, all you got to do is just plug them in like this. Put one on this side, and then one on the other side. And there you go. There's a collector blasting away. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is compare the collector ship next to Stridor. So in some of my videos, I'm mixing things around a little bit now, mixing and matching parts, comparisons and stuff. Just, it's easier. Anyway, so here's a size comparison between Stridor, right, and the collector ship. Curious. Now, as I already mentioned, the blasters are different. Their sculpt is similar, but this one pushes on over the blaster Stridor. This one inverts inside the claw. And they're orange like Night Stalker. They remind me of what Night Stalker's coming out with. Anyway, it's irrelevant, but yeah, that's pretty much the size of these two together. Now, the other thing too is here's the base for Stridor with the peg. And let me see if this collector will lock into this and this will work. Okay, so I'm trying to put Stridor's base, or at least a pin from this base, in the bottom of this collector where it barely fits. It looks like if you want to really force it, you might go in there. But for the most part, it's not going to work. It's not designed for this particular peg hole. Now, for the next size comparison to see if the base works is, once again, the collector ship next to the Sky Sled with Prince Adam. He has a custom vest on. So you kind of see what those two look like together as far as size. They're the two different vehicles, and yeah, somewhat a figure. We'll get the figure soon in this. So let's look at those two. Now, yeah, let's see if this will fit on the bottom of the ship, but I think this base, even if it works, is going to be it's going to wobble all over the place. Might be too big. But let's try it. So I'm going to try the Sky Sled base into the bottom of this, and for the most part, it seems like it locks in, but it falls out very easily. I don't think it's going to stand on this. All right, so I was kind of wrong. So there's a quick look at the collector on top of the Sky Sled base. It is a little finicky, but if you balance it just right, it does hold it up and floats so far. Let me see how you lock that. Okay, so it's sort of a solution for a base. Not perfect, but it will work. And now, moving on to one more comparison as far as vehicles and to see if this base works. Of course, there's a Wind Raider against the collector ship. That's those two together. Yeah, I think if this is probably the better base for this, I would think. So let's plug it in, try it out. And there's a look at that. So that's the perfect base in the exact peg this ship is designed to snap with. So if you have a Wind Raider and you're not using this base, or you pick up a spare one or there's a loose one on eBay, that's the correct base for the ship. And it works, and it balances it well too. For the most part, you got to mess around with it. But yeah, why wouldn't they include a flight stand with these? Same thing with the Roton. It just kind of doesn't make sense. I mean, yeah, I guess it could just put on the ground like it's grounded, but it takes the fun out of it. Anyway, there is a solution. It's the Wind Raider base. So obviously I took the collector off that flight stand, and I'm probably going to put it back on a little while when it comes to putting a couple figures in these claws, because, you know, once again, it's so low. I don't know how he's going to work around the waist or what the attention is to where it's, you know, supposed to be flying around grabbing, yeah, figures like He-Man and whatnot. So I thought it'd also be important to make a comparison against a Talon Fighter, because this is also on the art, right? So yeah, here's a quick size comparison with those two, and of course this is off the Point Dread. So let's give you an overall look at that. If you're not familiar, I'm sure most people are. So this also has a cockpit that opens up as far as a canopy, and yeah, I have Teal in there, and I have my He-Man with the 2000X head. I actually bought the cross armor with the sword holder in the back from like this San Diego Comic-Con or the Mattel Creations 4-pack armor, and put it on that He-Man. So He-Man's in the back because the sword, it catches this back at his seat, and when you put the canopy down, his head hits the glass. I make that point because this is another vehicle. It came out really cool. He made it a little bigger, but yeah, if they would have just made this a little higher, been better for certain figures, especially Masterverse and stuff. I remember reviewing this. So I'm hoping we don't have that problem with this when I start putting figures in it. So of course, once again, I'm going to open the main canopy of the collector, and let's start putting some figures in. So I'm going to set it up very similar to the image on the box, right, showed in the beginning of the video. So I think Webstore was, so I'm going to bring him in. He was in the front controlling it. Now, like, here we go already. These figures can't, let me see, articulation maybe, little, okay, yeah. And then he has the backpack, of course. So, and I thought it'd be a good example with the backpack. You can always take the armor off, but it's funny how they don't really sit well in the seats. You know, it's just something with these Origins. Cool if they had a little better articulation like the Masterverse or something. And now I'm going to put Beastman in this seat, like I showed on that image on the box. And so, yeah, I have web store all set up. But, yeah, again, it's not even a backpack. Well, maybe a little. He sits really off the seat. Kind of looks weird. So let's try to set Beastman up as well in the seat. Let's see. All right, he kind of sit all the way down. I'd even have little, if you see that near, stops for the foot, the feet, or the foot. But then he can't grab the controls. And then if you want him to grab the controls, yeah, you can't even, I wonder how it's... And now here's a look with Beastman all settled in the seat. So he kind of, depending on the position of the articulation, he kind of does sit all the way in the back of the seat. But yeah, he's not meant to grab the controls, from what I just looked at as far as an image on the box, which I'm going to bring in a second. Kind of his hands were off to the side, so wherever you have web store so far and Beastman set up. And real quick, I'm just bringing in the image on the box again, just kind of show you what I'm trying to do and what it looks like. And now, of course, going to bring Skeletor in the picture, just like I showed on that image. Sit him in the back, his throne. So let's see how that articulation works. Yeah, so you fight it, he broke right in half trying to sit him in that seat. Okay, so take two. I finally got Skeletor in the seat. Yeah, I just snapped the, waist back together. Had to mess around with the articulation of legs, position him to sit back. Again, he's technically sitting off the seat, not something you're really going to see. And then I have his hands down at each side. And then going back to that little piece inside here with the ram staff, kind of see that. Yeah, let me get some light on that. You're just going to, looks like you'll just snap this staff inside that center console piece like that. And that's how it's going to hold it. And now here's a complete look with all three figures as shown on that box image sitting in the collector. I mean, we can use other figures. It'd be cool to have Clawful and Spike-Or. Can't wait for those two to come out like it showed in the front of the box with them in the main window. But these will work. And I thought Web Store was a good example, being a pilot, because once again with the backpack. And if you take that off in the armor, which that armor is very iconic on Web Store, and he's going to definitely sit back better like Beastman. There's a quick look at that setup. We have Skeletor seated in. Now, the other thing is, let's close the canopy and see if it hits their heads and what they look like. All right, so something's catching here. Is it Skeletor's head in the back? I'm not sure. But it does close and lock all the way. And, yeah, you really don't see him in front like that arc going back to Spike-Or and Clawful, where they were, up front close to the window to sitting back far, which is fine. Maybe that's just for, like, marketing. But they sit back pretty far in there if you can see that. So once again, I opened the canopy lid up, and I just wanted to reverse the roles between Beastman and Web Store, only because, yeah, Beastman doesn't have a backpack, and I could have taken Web Stores off. But I wanted to see, using this control piece, if he sits off the seat, like holding those main grips. Yeah, and he does. It's just, let me see if you do this. Okay, I guess if you push it all the way down, but then the hand pops off, it's something you got to mess around with it. Looks like that, though, if you're curious, and how Web Store would sit off the seat without the controls. And now, moving on for the next test. So once again, we have the canopy open. You can see I removed all the cartoon figures. I wanted to bring in some regular Origins, vintage-inspired figures, more or less. So we have He-Man driving. Yeah, he's under Skeletor's controller. He just switched sides. I brought in the first release Evil Lynn, or actually this is the rare variant. She has corrected knees. So she's just a rare one on the market. I put her in the seat just to see what a female would do in one of the seats. So we have He-Man and pilot it. And then I brought in my Skeletor from the Screech 2-pack. With his ram staff clips in as well. Because the main Origins figures have a little bit different aesthetics than the cartoon line. Now, they actually sit better. Again, it's going to vary figure to figure. It depends if they have any armor or, sword holders or something like that in the back. But I think they fit a little better in the seats with the articulation and just their overall design. And the cartoon figures are a little bit taller with the legs. As I already said, they have a little different aesthetics. But, yeah, if you're curious, that's what that looks like with regular Origins figures. And, yeah, they do fit a little better, right? Close the top. You have Skeletor's head. Don't even hit it. Works perfect. So, moving forward once again with our next test. So, of course, I tried some Masterverse figures because I know that's going to be in the comments, and I'm curious myself. So, I did a combination of figures here. Actually, I have a classic Skeletor. So, right, they actually fit so far. So, we have a classic Skeletor in the back and a throne. This is the Princess of Power Masterverse Leech. Now, he has the drop joints. When I reviewed in my video, I didn't realize that. So he's really short. And by pulling him out, you can actually make him taller, which I still think he should have been a larger figure. Hopefully we'll get a new Attorney one. Anyway, so by pushing those drop joints in, and even with all his weird aesthetics, so I thought it'd be a good example. He does fit in the pilot, the extra seat there, co-pilot seat. And then I brought in the Revolution He-Man, Battle Armor He-Man, but with the cross armor on, trying to pilot the ship. So we got a mixture of characters here. Now you can sort of grab this like you want. The controls with He-Man's hand, it will work. I'm just fighting it. I'm not going to mess around with it. Try to save time. But so far, they all fit. Now, let's try to close the canopy and see how that works out. All right, we're already hitting something here. So we're hitting the back of classic Skeletor head. All right, so that's out. Well, let's kick him out. And let's see what these two in the front. Now it's hitting He-Man's head. So what if I just position him back like this? Try that. Yeah, yes and no. Again, it's going to depend on the figure and the particular aesthetics of them. So yes and no, it does work. I guess the whole point is like you want the figures in there with the ship closed, but then who cares what's really in there? Because you can see in the window, but it's not great, the view. But if you want to leave it open and display and you want to put Masterverse figures in there, then it could work fine because the canopy's not going to hit their heads. So now I just put the classic Skeletor and He-Man spot, because this He-Man's really tall, by the way, with the newer chest and stuff like that. I want to see if this closes now. So that does work with that leech in the Masterverse Skeletor and that seat, and it locks fine. Okay, so again, it's going to depend on the figure for the back seat for how this lower part of the canopy drops. And the other thing, while we're playing around with Masterverse figures, as far as the males, I want to see if this claw catches the waist. See, here we go again. It's like, what's the point of the ship without it being on a base? And I'm not going to spend a lot of time in this because we're trying to focus on the cartoon characters and stuff, but I want to see if this claw will go around the Masterverse waist. Yeah, and it does. So see that? It will actually hold the Masterverse figures and works. And now for the next setup, let's have Ladies Night in the collector. So while we're on the Masterverse figures. So yeah, I got the movie Evelyn in the back. Teela 2.0 in the front. She's left her sword on. She sits really well. So does Evelyn, but Evelyn has that rubber dress piece, and it's not, well, the cape's cloth. That kind of hinders her, keeps her off the seat. And then I put good old Shearer in the front. Now, I did try Teela originally. Didn't seem to matter, but Shearer's hair kind of gets odds and ends, but it's still awkward with this, trying to grab this control. Her hands barely reach it unless you put her up. And as I said, I already tried with Teela. It was very similar. So it's maybe something you got to mess around with. The hand, all right, so that hand just barely reaches, but anyway, and she sits off the seat. That's her hair. I have to bend her forward. But anyway, let's see if the canopy closes. It's already hitting Evelyn's head in the back too. Wow. Yeah, this little piece back here that's a problem with this back seat with these figures. Nope. Wow, doesn't. All right, just like taking the figure out in the back. How about the front? Here we go. And then it closes with two figures in the front, like She-Ra, because she does sit far off the seat. So let's quick look at that setup. And then, of course, the other thing I want to do with the Masterverse females is see if the claw holds. So once again, we're trying to move Evelyn, which I removed from the back seat. She just hits the canopy with her head. Maybe if you mess around, lay her down more, it works. Just enough's enough. But yeah, the claw, for the most part, will hold the females if you put it all the way down by the hips. If you put it up on the waist, it's not going to work. Okay, so once again, jumping back to some more Origin-related figures, what this ship is designed for. I just put some additional figures inside the ship, as you can see. So we have the canopy raised, of course. I did it elevated as well on the Wind Raider stand because, yeah, it just works better going back to the claw mechanisms. So I tried one of the Turtles of Grayskull figures, Leonardo. He has some swords in the back and just his overall aesthetics and the shell included. He fits really well in there, and you can kind of manipulate his hands and use this main controller. I put the cartoon Teela in the co-pilot seat. Now, she works well in any part of the ship, but I'm just going to leave her there for now. And I tried the cartoon-inspired Merman in the back. Yeah, he sits down a little better in Skeletor, and he's kind of looking up, but it works better. I put the cartoon He-Man in the claw here, going back to like the art image on the box. So, of course, now, and then you know that, right? We know how this goes out and all that good stuff. Like it's grabbing, almost will extend that. And then I also put the Origins Evelyn again, brought her back in again, in the claw. So just to see how the claw fits the aesthetics of the Cartoon Origins figures. Now, the Teela cartoon, if you're not familiar, shares the same aesthetics as the regular Origins females. I thought it would be different like the males, but no, they left it the same. The only thing different is the head, the armor, stuff like that. So yeah, like somebody like Evelyn or Teal in this case can sit in the claw. She's just going to catch her under the arms, rocks back and forth. And again, right, it goes all the way out like it's grabbing her. But see, you got to be careful, depending on the angle of it. She'll fall out, hold her by one arm. Anyway, just wanted to show it. Okay, she fell out. But for the most part, it can work for all that stuff. And with this figure combination, with one of the turtles in the front, this whole canopy, let's see now, how does it shut? Okay, see again, it's that back thing. It's actually hitting Merman's head, and he really sits down far, but if you lock it... Alright, so it did lock all the way down, so it works a little better, I guess. And now, for one last combination to set up as far as the Origins figures go. So, yeah, I threw the Serpent King Hiss in a co-pilot seat, and he actually fits, depending how you manipulate these snake arms. I put the cartoon Skeletor flying now. So, and he fits okay. Gotta mess around with the arms. And I put one of the turtles, in this case Leonardo, on the back. And let's see if how does the canopy shuts, even with the King Hiss. Yeah, it actually locks and works. And then going back to these claws for the last time, yeah, I put a Classics He-Man in the claw with no armor on, so it does fit if you want to use a Classics figure, because I didn't show Classics in the claw. And of course, we still have the cartoon He-Man on. You can see how this is elevated once again on a Wind Raider base, and it holds it well, and even with the figures, you know, you can just see the overall setup. And yeah, you really need a base for this. Works a lot better. Alright, so it's my overall review on the new Master Universe Origins Cartoon Collection collector ship or vehicle. That's, yeah, part of the cartoon series. You know, my honest thoughts, it's pretty cool to finally see this long-awaited Filmation-inspired vehicle come to the Origins line, whether it's with the regular Origins or in this case cartoon. Yeah, I think it works best with the cartoon collection, but you've seen all the different combinations of figures I tried in this or on the claws. I mean, it's going to be hit or miss with certain figures, and, you know, I try what I can think of at the time. You can make a whole video of just all kinds of different figures, you know, one of those things. For the most part, it fits them okay. It just depends what you're trying to do with them, what kind of look you're going for. If you're going to put this on your shelf with that canopy open, you know, some of them, they look weird laying back. They can't exactly grab the control grip, that kind of thing. If you're going to close this, you know, on a shelf, and you can situate them in, it doesn't really matter. Then it looks cool. Now you can see, once again, I just rotated some figures around. I have Skeletor in a co-pilot seat, Merman in a pilot seat, and I put the vintage-inspired Evelyn in the back, which the females do fit better in there, and they don't have a problem hitting the back of this. So that's kind of my gripe with this. They hit the back certain figures. And I'm going to say it again, it should have come with a flight stand, or you can use the Wind Raider flight stand if you have one, or you can just elevate it on something. That's going to be really important with this, especially if you want to use these claws to make it look like it's flying with the blasters, just to grab figures. Otherwise, when you go to grab them like He-Man, it's just bottom out in the ground. Kind of doesn't make sense from what I can see. And it just looks better, articulated and all that good stuff. You know, one of those things, I kind of feel like, in a way, it should have been a little bigger, you know, to go back to the cartoon. But to be fair, the one in the cartoon was pretty big. If you had one to scale, it'd be like probably the size of a small washing machine or something. So that's not practical. This works and does what it has to do for these figures. But yeah, I wish it was a little higher or something, so the figure in the back wouldn't hit the back of that. And certain figures, just when they're sitting up, it's not an issue with the heads like I show with multiple setups from that. But aside that, you know, it is cool. It's doing what it has to do, and it's pretty neat to see in the line. If you take out those gripes, it's fun to have. And even though it's on a smaller scale, it is a shelf hogger. You want to say that it is a pretty big vehicle compared to like what I showed with the Talon Fighter and Jet Sled and the Wind Raider. It is bigger, you know. So you got to keep that in mind if you're going to collect this. The pros and cons of it. Otherwise, I like it, and I do like the shine to it too. I notice, you know, you see there's a lot of light glare, but I like the yellowish window and the nose. And just the coating on it, it's shiny. I think that's cool. Oh, and the other thing too, I wish it would have come with stickers to put in the inside. Again, I can find some, so kind of cheap that on that, the base, odds and ends. But beside that, you know, yeah, it's neat to have in hand like a lot of things. So I hope this answers everybody's questions on this video. I appreciate everybody watching. And until next time, take care.